And that's where, wow, the world outside is so attractive. There's so many people out there. There's so many men.
This is where the story gets interesting.
This is where the story gets interesting.
Hi everyone.
We're back,
We
Jeremy.
are back. Maddy, we are back with our second episode.
And it is called
The Story of You and I.
Oh my God.
So exciting, right?
How do you feel today?
I'm feeling like a 7 or 8, I think.
Me too.
7 or 8?
Something like a 8.
Something like 8,
Last
I
week,
guess.
I think I was over bubbling with excitement, like an 11 out of 10. But
What,
today
11
I'm,
out of 10? Oh my
last
God.
week. But today I'm feeling a bit more calm.
A bit more calm.
I
think because it's the second time we're doing this. You know, it's a bit of 默契 already. Like you're feeling the energetic vibes, but it's kind of settling down a little bit, maturing a little bit. You know how like good fine wine gets better over time. Like 我们慢慢的酝酿 getting better and better.
是的. A little bit less kanchiong, a
less
little bit more
kanchiong.
like allowing myself to go through whatever it's going to come.
Yes.
I think.
Yes. Giving permission for yourself to be yourself.
Yes.
And bring more of yourself into the podcast.
And that's why we're talking about the story of you and I. We're just going to tell our listeners what's coming up for us.
Yes.
Who are we as
Yes.
a person, the challenges and the celebrations that we've been through, and no holding of any bar. Let it all out.
Wow. Authentic. 泼出去了.
like if there's this one time that we're going to be honest
Yes.
with anyone,
Yes.
this episode 2 is going to be that moment for both of us.
That's right. We're going to, for lack of a better word, we're going to come be bare naked, right, in
Yes.
front of you and let you know who
我们是
we
赤
really
裸
are.
的。
赤裸的. 赤裸裸的.
Okay, we'll start with this life story.
Yes, a life story, yes. But I think it's also important to just, because we talked about it, right? Like why you want to do this, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important, right? Because I feel that if I'm listening to a podcast, it's important to really know the person, right? Who's telling you, or sharing with you their lives, whatever they are talking about in a podcast. Because we don't have a chance to kind of meet in person, right?
Yes.
So all you have is the voice, and all you have is kind of going with what you know about this person. So I thought this episode is really important, kind of to set the stage, right?
Yes.
And then for people to go, okay, this Maddy in Gem quite interesting, huh? Okay, 我听下去.
So 希望, whatever that we're going to share with
Yes.
all of you today is going to bring us closer.
Yeah?
Like Jeremy said, we cannot be there to see you. Maybe one day we will
Maybe
see
one day.
our listeners physically.
That'll be
Oh my God.
interesting.
Maybe a launch party or a second season. I don't know lah, huh?
Let's see.
But at least the least that we can do is just share with all of you who are we.
Yeah.
And then get to know you better and for you to know us better. Lor.
Yes, exactly. So the way we thought we'll do this today, right, is we drafted, right, some questions.
Yes, you have some questions.
Yeah, and we thought, and to be honest, thinking about those questions wasn't easy, right?
It's super hard.
Yeah,
it's super hard.
It's hard because they can be a million questions. But I think we kind of shortlisted these questions, and we thought this will be the best questions, right, to kind of know who we are.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So how should we do this? You
Can
start.
I start asking you 可以
Can,
吗？所以我给我一点时间呢settle down 一下，我还没有完全的进入那个 moment
那个状态啊
So I
OK
prefer to be the one who asks.
Sure.
Okay, so Jeremy, can you share with us a little bit of your life story? Who are you? What became who you are today? What happened? What's your life story?
Okay. 很多年前 long time ago. Okay, so I'm Jeremy, as you already know. People call me Jem for short.
Okay.
And I've been, I'm 43 years old this year. I'm born in 1980. So to connect with those of you who are born in the 80s.
I like this age introduction.
Right, this age introduction. No shame.
It is not in my brief, but I will do it anyway.
No shame of
No
who we
shame.
are. But it's interesting because I'm kind of born in a generation where, and you probably would know this, right? I'm born in a generation where we kind of see all the technological advancements.
That's right.
Progression. I think I went all the way from your first PC all the way to what's that, floppy disk, and then thumb
Cassette
drive,
tape.
cassette tapes, Discman, and then iPod, and now it's like Spotify. So I went through all of that. So I always thought it's very interesting generation. In fact, I think it's a name for the generation. I can't remember.
I cannot remember also.
I can't remember.
But we
yeah.
are one of the very privileged generation to have seen it all.
Exactly. One of the really privileged ones. Kind of like the tail end of Gen X and the beginning of your Gen Y.
Yeah.
Okay. So a little bit about myself. I Singaporean Chinese. I've been living and working most of my life in Singapore. Come from a fairly big family. I have 3 siblings, so include myself, there are 4 of us, right? And I'm supposed to I'm the eldest.
I think I always, when you say this, I'm always surprised.
Really?
It's like always a first time I'm hearing this. But okay.
Why? Because I don't have the 大哥 vibe, is it?
I don't know. It's just 没有 any idea. But okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm the eldest. And it's interesting, and I will say this because, you know, as the eldest, your mom will always tell you, hey, you know, whatever you do, you have to lead by example. So I've always had this thing about taking care of people. Because when you're an eldest, your parents will tell you, hey, later after school, can you stay home, come back after school and take care of your brother, or can you do this, so on and so forth. So I feel that the eldest is always given to me the burden of taking care of the family. Yeah, and I think somehow that's kind of shaped my worldview as well. Like, I always need to kind of take care of people, because by default, I always had that imprinted in my mind. I've lived overseas for a short while, which I'll come to in a little bit, one of the questions, and it'll be interesting. So I worked in Malaysia for 2 years, and to any Singaporeans out there, I always advise, if there's any chance to relocate and work overseas, I think do that. Yeah, because it will give you such a different perspective,
I'm sure,
of life, right? And I think very much like yourself, I've been kind of like a corporate animal most of my life. So I think for those of you who are like, you're working a job ever since you graduated from university, you know what I mean, right? The corporate animal.
Why do you call it animal? Why is it corporate animal? Not corporate warrior, corporate 男强人、女强人 animal 很像惨呢。
很惨哈. Because I do think that in some ways we are kind of in a rat race. In some ways.
That's true.
But that doesn't mean that our mentality has to be that. Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess the corporate rat race is what a lot of people can relate to.
Yep.
And I also feel that because we are caught in a rat race, therefore we want something out of it.
Yeah.
We want something more out of it. And then, but I also had a few interesting stints in my life where I was not that corporate, that non-corporate side of me. So at the beginning of my career, I did a bit of theatre, a bit of acting. And I've always loved acting when I was young. I remember there are photos of me on the stage, either doing storytelling competition or I've been in choirs. And yeah, so when I first graduated, the first few years, I was feeling a bit like I need to do something else apart from work. So I took part in a couple of plays. I was with action theatre. So
what made you interested to go into theatre, of all things? Was it something that you realized that you were like good at, or somebody said something to you that made you move from school to theatre? Because it's quite a big jump, right?
Yeah, good question. I think the stage has always been something very magical for me. Yeah, and I think it's because when I feel that I'm on stage, I feel I'm given a chance to live a different life.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's quite special, because I always feel that you live your life, right, and this is like the only narrative that you know. But whenever I get a chance to hold a script in my hand and I go deep into the lines, and in theatre you're constantly being asked, like, why is this character saying the words he or she is saying, and then because of that, and because as you think through the why, then you know how to deliver the lines. So there was the huge part about that is about kind of knowing the script, knowing your character, and really understanding the psyche of it. So I feel it's very magical because I actually get to experience a different life apart from mine.
And this stage is still something that you hold very true to your heart, right?
Yes.
And that's the reason why we are on this stage.
Yes.
Together.
Yes, exactly. So this is my stage as well. This is the stage I've created for myself. You're right. So we all find different stages, even 舞台, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
it's never too late, I think.
It's never too late. It's never too late. And so that's what we believe in our podcast.
Yes.
Because we are hoping that you will find your own stage. And if you haven't found your stage, it's never too late.
It's never too late.
It's never too late.
So Jeremy found his stage after graduation. Tell us more about it.
So I did a bit of acting. At the time, some of you remember, there was a toy factory. I did this children's musical. Very fun. 叫十兄弟.
Oh my god!
I don't know if you know that.
这个是第八波道的那种吗？
没有，这是舞台剧。
舞台剧
yes.
Okay.
So it was theatre. I acted on what's the venue? Victoria Theatre. Victoria Theatre, and there was an ensemble cast, and I was one of the 师兄弟。有没有 story about 师兄弟？
一点点，
对不对？他们全部都有自己的 special power， 对不对？有顺风有
这是 Chinese version of Avengers。
Yes, very good. The Chinese version of
In
Avengers.
case you are young listeners, you don't know what 师兄弟 is just Avengers in the Chinese way.
Exactly it. And I was one of the 师兄弟.
What power do you have?
I was 顺风耳. So I had these like pixie ears, because prosthetic ears, right? They will not stick to me. Also because my nose is quite sharp, isn't it? So they thought like I will fit the 顺风 ear. I look very elvish, right? So I could hear from a mile away, and I got all my 9 other siblings, and then we will come together, and then we will save our mom from the evil guy, and then all will be well at the end of the story.
And then how long were you at the acting and the theatre industry?
Okay.
Or was it a stint, or was it an occupation already?
It was, I think early on in my career, I actually thought I wanted to be a full-time actor, like on stage. But I tell you, 很难的.
Like you mean the TCS kind 那种的 actor 还是?
I think the stage kind. I think my exposure was mostly on a theatre stage. A bit of dabbling into film and all that, but it was very different. I think the main difference being it was a lot easier for me to relate to an audience, like a face in the audience, rather than kind of memorizing my lines into the black screen, right? The camera. I would kind of like lose myself in that gaping black hole. So it was very, very different, right? Because in theatre, everything is live, and it can go on, right? There's so much live stories I can share about the theatre. And one thing I really, really learned about theatre is the show must go on. 不管你生病 doesn't matter. If you have 16 shows to go, you have to go. Because there's no one other person in the world that can take your place. Because this person wouldn't know your lines, he wouldn't know what you're supposed to do. So it's one of those things that I've really, really learned and captured in my heart. The show must go on.
Is that also the reason why you have moved from theatre to corporate? Like this, showing up even though you feel like shit, you're sick. I'm just curious, what made you then move from theatre to being a corporate animal?
Can I be honest?
Just be honest. This is honesty, right?
It's the money. 因为theatre 不赚钱，真的不赚钱，很难的。
We're in Singapore.
It's very difficult, my dear. Okay, let me ask you. Imagine if you're rehearsing for 4 months, and we're talking about 5-day rehearsals, maybe in the evenings and all that. So you're doing that repeatedly for 4 months, and then you take leave for the actual performance, which is about, say, 2 weeks. Imagine how much you're paid for the entire project, which is about 5 to 6 months. Make a guess.
不懂耶，
你猜
有5000吗？哈
divide by 3.
我的5000已经是 divide by 2 from 10,000的嘞。
Okay, maybe after inflation, because it's many, many years ago, maybe lah. Maybe for now it's like 没有到5000啦 I think maybe it's not 5,000, maybe it's like, I don't know, 3,000.
3500
Maybe, yeah.
所以就是 basically 很难自己养活自己。That's why you have to move to corporate.
Yeah, I couldn't. And I also felt that I had my family to take care of. Again, 大哥, right? 大哥,
对 You've got the burden, you got the responsibility for your siblings.
Exactly. And I knew that I was still paying for my parents' a HDB flat, right? My parents' CPF was dry, and like all of those reasons. So I felt like I could dabble in it, I could have fun in it, but I knew that it was only going to be 2 years. So after 2 years, it was interesting because I had a conversation with my then manager, and he said, "Hey, I love your passion in this. I love that you are still very active in your passion, but at the same time, I could see that you're taking time off from work, So there was a decision that I had to make. I had to either go into theatre or I could, kind of
corporate.
Yeah, stay with my corporate. And obviously I chose what was practical for me, what was necessary for me. But I do want to say this, the stage never left my heart. So after that, I realized that I had to kind of pivot because I feel that there was still this passion and this energy that I wanted to do, this creative energy. So I went into emceeing.
And this is the part that I know about you because I don't really know about your theatre story. I only know about you as MC, speaking well, and being paid to do hosting. That's the part of you that I know. But thank you for sharing your story. I'm honored. It is true that we don't really get to speak so much about our story until we decided with the intention that we're going to do this today.
Exactly. This is what we were sharing just now, right? Like how many opportunities do you have in life to go deep?
So in case to the listeners out there, for us, both Jeremy and I doing this episode of The Story of You and I, this is technically the second time in our life at this age to share about our story. So this is not like, in case we sound smooth, know that it is not easy for us because this is only the second time we're doing it. It is very new for us to narrate our story. Am I right, Jeremy?
Exactly right. And it's not because we are unfamiliar with our story. Of course we know our story very well. But it's just sometimes hearing yourself, right? Hearing yourself say, and kind of relate and narrate your story, I think it's a different level altogether. And I feel that every time I kind of go through my past and talk about my story.
What comes up for you now? Now that you have just, spent the last 10 minutes talking about your family, your responsibility as a sibling, and then you moving to theatre, pivoting, but still the stage never left your heart. What's coming up for you now?
I feel I'm very proud of myself.
Wow. And I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
For doing this.
Oh,
because it
thank you
takes
so
courage.
much. It does.
Yeah.
It does. It takes, I think it takes one to be brave, to say, hey, I just want to do it regardless, right? Like whether it's theatre, whether it's emceeing, whether it's corporate job. Yeah, but I think you always feel like, I want to do this because it's out of necessity. But you also at the same time don't let yourself down. So I feel that in some way I'm trying to, like my whole life, right, I'm trying to just balance and juggle. Like I want to do the corporate thing because I feel that that's like the best way to get to put food on the table. But I refuse to give up the other parts of my life. Yeah, exactly. My passion, my interests. And I think very funny. Somebody actually mentioned this before, and I'm sure this person, the way the person said it is in a very complimentary way. I think she said, hey, so interesting because when you tell me about your story, and it was like very casual conversation, it sounds like you have built 2 careers for yourself. So I think in a way it's true, because there was a period of time that I also kind of took 3 years off to just do emceeing and hosting events and all that for a while. So it does feel that I kind of developed 2 careers for myself.
And I think we also want to let our listeners know that it's never like the best time to have a passion. There's never a wrong time. There's never a right time. Yeah. Like Jeremy's passion for stage is as young as 那个是几岁？那个 theatre 的时候。
Wow, my first time was 26.
Yeah, 26 is 26. Jeremy has his passion and he has never left that passion out of his life. And then for me personally, my passion only started 1 year ago. Lor.
Okay.
Yeah, like that. We just want to let you all know that. And the reason why we're doing this podcast is that there is more to, there may be a lot more to what you're doing now.
Yes.
And once you have found that something, you suddenly life changes for you like how it did for us.
Correct. Okay, very good. So this is a very good moment for me to turn the question back on you, Maddy. 到你了. So same question, and I'm sure everyone who's listening out there really wants to know who you are as a person, right? So what's your life story? What's your background? What's your life? What's your experience? What's your journey?
So I really had a chance to think about this question, and it's so hard to come up with my story. But I shall start the way you do it because it's so nice and proper. So my name is Madeline. Many call me Maddy. Some call me Mad, and I'm fine with both. And I'm 41 years old this year. I've never felt this fit mentally and physically in my life. So I would say that I'm in the best form that I've ever been.
Fantastic. 40s is the new 30s.
对，我们就是那个 generation, like you say, we have seen it. We have seen a lot. We have experienced a lot, and then we are still hungry for more. Okay, this is like that lah. So I was trying to think about, what is my story? So I would say that I'm really the ordinary Singaporean girl that follow the Singapore template. I'm the middle child, I have a younger brother and an elder sister and a normal set of parents. Still alive, they're still living and fit and healthy. And then I go to a normal school. My grades were above average. I passed well. I didn't have any like a major setbacks. I was just really following the true blue Singaporean template. 读书又厉害，吃也没有什么问题。Parents never really have to bother so much about me. I didn't have a disciplinary issues. I've never been to the principal's office.
You're a good girl.
You're a good girl. I'm a good girl. And then I think a big part of my story was in my 20s, when I started to, and I've never had, I don't know what's my passion. I've never really had a passion. I'm that kind of version of me whereby, whenever there's a PE, like a physical education class, I try to escape. I hate sports. I try to siam. I hate running. I hate 2.4. I don't do sports. I don't go under the sun. So I don't have a passion. I don't have a hobby. I was just like, okay lor, 做这个一点点, and then just siam. So that's why I could get good grades. I just study. I love to study. I'm very good at studying. I'm self-motivated to 自己, revise and get my exams right. But then when it comes to then, okay, growing up, I go to a JC, normal, still good at my studies, and I go to university, then I think like my life changed when I stepped into the corporate world, when I started to earn money. And that's where, wow, the world outside is so attractive. There's so many people out there, there's so many men.
This is where the story gets interesting.
This is where the story gets interesting. I spent a lot of time in my 20s seeking for love. I have no idea what and this is only what comes up to me right now at around like 40, right? I start to realize that how come I spend so much time going through so many different relationships, and when I mean relationship means boy-girl relationships, right? It's like I just couldn't stop being going into a love relationship with men. So this is something that I'm not like the proudest of, but this is also something that quite defines me today. Is the going through of relationships with different men, boyfriends, and seeking for love. And I think what I was going through that time was really whenever a moment when men can say something nice to me that sounds good to my ears, I will just fall for them easily, without a thought, without a filter. And then now that I look back, it was like, wow, 真的是浪费很多时间，浪費。And I cannot think of a better word than to really just 浪費. So that's 20s a version of me, a lot of time wasted. And that also brought me to then meet my husband, who is totally not in the category of somebody that I would fall for.
Right. Because not the usual guy that you go
he's
for.
He's not the usual guy. And then, okay, the guy that I like is like I said just now, men that can say things that sounds good to my ears, a bit of bad boy. 都不用英俊的，不用帅的。
Bad boys.
I like bad boys. I like bad boys.
You love bad boys.
That perhaps they just lie their way through, but then they sound so good to me that I just like them. But then, at age 30, I got to know my husband. He is an ordinary Singapore templated man.
Okay.
平平凡凡.
Okay.
He looks so clean. He has big eyes, something that I don't really love. But he's just a normal, good man lah. And I think also at age 30, I come to realize that, okay, I've done enough of time wasting on the kind of different men I've had. I've kind of had even though I still don't know what real love feels like, but I kind of know for sure that, okay, this is the least of characteristics that I do not want in a man. And I think this is something that I see in Stephen, who is my husband today.
Okay.
And then we had a very short dating sting, 4 months or 6 months. Then I found myself pregnant.
Okay.
And then we just jump into, okay, we kind of, because of the pregnancy, we quickly planned for our wedding, which happened in the next 2 months. So then before I know it, I was married with a baby in my body.
Oh my gosh, that's very brave of you. That's very brave of you. I mean, what was the decision like? I mean, to kind of find out that, you were pregnant before you got married. I mean, how was it like for you?
I think the entire experience was very calm.
Okay.
It was, there wasn't even a second option of not proceeding. I think, and the thing is, there was a lot that we didn't know of each other. A lot. Like, we only know each other for that 4 months, actually. Like, the only thing I know is that he's not a bad guy, lor. That version of me then was somebody that didn't really believe in marriage, and somebody that totally did not want children. Like, no way that 我会生孩子的. Come on, man, it's like such a painful and suffering life experience, and I will never have children.
Right.
But then obviously never say what you don't want, because
Never
it
say
will
never.
really come to you.
Never say never.
But the thing is, when we were dating, my husband and I, there was this one particular moment when I was in his house. I was in the kitchen, and I received a download. And
I remember this.
This download is the same as the download that I received on why we should do a podcast together. The same version, okay, that kind of download.
At that fateful interjunction. Junction.
That red light junction. But this download
junction,
happened to me in the kitchen, whereby I heard this message sending into my system saying that this guy could be the husband of your child. At that point in time when I received the download, I was not pregnant.
Right.
And I questioned, like, so some more like that. But I think that download change for me was like, okay, maybe I didn't mind having children. And then the pregnancy thing happened lah.
Right. Soon after.
Soon after. Soon
Oh
after.
my gosh.
Soon after.
Oh my gosh.
讲完了 life story. 我们 26 minutes 了
Oh, are you for real? Oh my
Jeremy.
gosh. Okay, chill. Don't worry.
我们 overtime 了
That's why we got someone to edit for us. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay, so we got a few questions to cover. Okay,
Yes,
let's see where we go with this. But that's a really interesting story, and I think hearing it for the second time still feels very fresh to me. Yeah.
I can't believe I said this on a podcast recorder that 可能可以 millions of 人听 or 一个人听 but I've never done it like to anybody that I don't know, which is you out there.
Yeah.
But okay, but I shall not. There's nothing to hide.
Yeah, there's nothing to hide. You own your story, and I think every time you share the story, you're owning it.
Yes.
It's your story, and thanks for being brave to share that.
Hi to you who is listening to our content. Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Jeremy,
And this is Maddy.
and we are the Imperfect Rainbow.
If you like listening to our podcast so far, please do the following.
Please follow and share our podcast,
That will do us a lot of good.
and we'll really appreciate that.
Yes.
So now, back to the show. Okay, so let's go to the next question.
Okay, so what are the challenging moments or aha moments that you have experienced that shape who you are today?
I think a big part of my life was this moment where I had a really bad heartache, and this was like 10 years ago. So I used to be going to the church, and I spent my formative years in the church. I spent many years there, but at the same time I was also gay, right? And now I'm very openly I'm openly gay in my workplace, to my family, to my partner's family, and we've been together for 12 years. But it's such a journey. I say it now very comfortably because I've gone through that journey, right? I tell you, I think the biggest challenge was just kind of accepting myself, I feel. And there was a particular moment in my life where I was with my ex, right, for 5 years. And I was also very involved in church. And I think I've always been living a double life. It's really interesting. I think, if some of you out there are living a double life, you will know how it feels because you can look into the mirror and sometimes you question like, 这是谁? Like, who am I looking in the mirror? It was like if I, on Monday so weekdays, right? Obviously, church is happening on the weekends. So on the weekdays, I would go about my life and, and I have my own sexual preference, obviously. And I was in my 20s and I was growing up. And clearly we have our urges, right? And I always feel that I had to kind of hide that because I felt that the church wasn't agreeable to it. But yet at the same time, when I go on the weekend to church, and I was very involved. And let me tell you how involved I was. I was an interpreter in church. So my pastor was kind of speaking on church. I was kind of interpreting in Chinese.
Wow.
In the interpretation room, and I actually did a diploma in interpretation and translation.
Oh,
just for the church. I know, right? I don't think I ever told you that part.
No.
So I was very involved in that. I was involved in like connect groups, which is like cell groups, and I was leading a cell group at some point of time. And from a very young age, I think in my teens, there was one moment of time I actually wanted to be a pastor as well. So very, very involved. But yet I was obviously living a double life very successfully, I must say. You know the template. You know the template to be the good Christian boy. On the weekends, you know how to behave, you know what to say. And then obviously you have the other template where you kind of want to be yourself, and you're having your hookups, you're meeting guys, and you're doing all that. But then you're always regretting it, right? When you go to church and you ask for forgiveness and you ask for cleansing and all. And the cycle repeats itself. Yeah, because you can never quite reconcile the fact that you're gay and you're in church. So every weekend was like a turmoil for me. Every weekend. And then imagine you go through it countless times. After a while, you become numb. You become numb and you go like, I'm able to very successfully live two different types of lives.
So how then did you, because you have mentioned this first experience as one of your challenging moments that shape who you are today, and this is why we are talking about this.
Yes.
So how then did you reconcile, and that became you today?
Yeah. So remember I was saying I was with my ex. And,
5 years ago.
5 years ago. No, it's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago. And one day I decided that, things weren't working out. It's not working out, and he wasn't the guy for me, and I wanted to leave. And at the same time, I also decided to leave church. And and it was just a really, really hard moment for me because it's like separating from kind of two loves of your life. The guy that you like, but yet you know you have no future with, and then the church that you have been with in your formative years. There comes with a whole community of people.
And this decision to to separate from your boyfriend then, and also church, was it the same motivation behind it or completely separate?
It was a motivation that I never want to go through this double life again. Because I felt that if I had just gone back to that same lifestyle, it's just living a double life all over again. And then going through that breakup and that separation from church, it was just way too painful. It was so painful and I was so lost for many months. Like I couldn't find my footing. And I just realized that like I didn't want anything to do with this. I didn't want anything to do with the double life, the not knowing who you are, the trying to please everybody.
Tell us a little bit about what went through your mind when you decided, what were the struggles in your mind that made you decide to leave church?
I felt I wasn't honest to myself. And I felt I needed to be authentic to myself.
Wow.
Yeah. 骗不了自己. Like I could go out there and smile and be the good Christian boy. I can go out and follow the template. Yeah. But it was all facade. Like,
was there a moment that, because you said that, you were going this weekday, weekend of double life and then you became numb to it. But then at which point did this numb turn into a moment of honesty that drove you to take this decision to leave church? Is there any that?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. I think it was just that moment of breakup. Yeah. I think that moment of breakup just kind of forced me to really rethink about what I want in life. Yeah. So it wasn't. So I mean, in a way, it's two separate things. So I want to say clearly, in a way, it's two separate things: the breakup and the separation from church. But the breakup also kind of woke me up to the fact that I'm living a double life.
Wow.
And I realized that if I'm going back into it, it's just so painful, and I can't go back to it anymore. And I know I'm not going to turn straight. That's not going to happen. I'm who I am, right? And I realized that the church was just not serving that purpose for me. So therefore, at that moment, I realized that, okay, I want to have a clean break. So I think at the age of, was it 30 or 31, I said, enough is enough. I'm not going to wake up to this version of myself that I don't recognize. I want to be authentic. I want to own my life. And yeah, so I said, for like a better word, fuck it. Just fuck it.
It's okay to use this word. 这个没有 censor 的。
这是我们的 podcast, right?
Yeah, the government doesn't have to.
是我们的
We don't need a
podcast.
censorship permit or anything.
So fuck it. Seriously, fuck it. Like this is not working out for me, and I just want to stay true and be authentic, and I want to own my life.
And that's 10 years ago for you at 33.
31, I think. 31.
Stepping into 30 has a pivotal moment for both of us.
Yeah, that was an interesting moment for me. Yeah. So it was a big aha moment too. And I think from there on, it was just about relearning who I am. Honestly, there was a lot of relearning about who I am, what I really want in life, and stepping into it. So it was a big moment of big pivot in my
I
life.
like it that you say that was the starting point for you to learn who you are. And then it turns out so differently for different. And because I never thought about it this way, where like they suddenly became pregnant at 30.
Yeah.
30 was also that age for me, and then that was also the moment where I started to learn about who I am.
And that's all these like big life lessons for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked that. That actually is giving me a lot of reflection right now.
Because we are getting a point, but then but thank you for sharing that it was the honesty that you're willing to want to derive for yourself that caused you to make that decision.
Yeah, be authentic, be yourself. Yeah, and I think it's never too late to say, okay, this is not who I am. I don't want that. I want to be who I am and start looking for and start understanding who you really are. Yeah, it's never too late. Okay, and then do I ask the same question back to you?
Yes, you can.
Okay, and the question is. Oh, wait a minute. Do I ask the other question? I forgot what I was supposed to do.
No, the question that I asked you just now is, what was the challenging moment or the aha moment that shaped who you are today?
That's right. Yeah.
So 我要自己回答了哦。
好，对。
好，我自己回答。
自己回答。对 ，What's your big aha moment or challenges in your life?
There are a few aha moments. Okay, I should talk about this main one, which is after being a mother for 5 years. So, okay, a little bit of background of who I was before I got married. I'm quite a physically active person. So from the primary school person of Siam PE, I actually got to become quite a physically active person in my 20s. So I was doing runs, I was joining 10 km races, 21. I've done a full marathon before, so I've got to be quite physically active. And I think I have also got to thank one of my boyfriend that didn't work out, but he was such a gym rat that somehow that got to me, and then I also go to the gym just to follow. So I must say that I have to thank that boyfriend.
Oh yeah, a lot of benefits from that. Yes.
Poor relationships, poor decisions, but in a way somewhat good outcome.
Yeah,
okay.
got utility, very good.
Yeah. so I became quite a physically active person in my 20s, but then I got to know my husband. I got married, not because I gave myself a lot of choice, but I went with that decision. And then I had 2 children. So I have 2 children now. I have 2 girls. Okay, I promise to mention their names. They're Maven and Mavis.
Oh, Maven and Mavis.
Yes, and 9 and 10 this year, primary 3 and primary 4. So I think when I was a mother at 5 years into my motherhood, and the thing is, when I became a mother, I literally stopped exercising. I stopped working out. I stopped doing things that brings me joy. Priority completely changed and reversed. And that was a time where, when I became a mother, at the point where that I knew that there was a baby living inside of me, a fetus, I completely woke up. I also got to be more honest with myself. Okay, literally what was in my thinking was okay, it's time to stop thinking and be selfish and stop being self-centered. It is time to think about something more serious than you. And then, in that 5 years of motherhood, it was a lot of prioritizing of children.
Yes.
Their school, they're taking care of them when they're sick, bringing them to doctors like that. There's just endless doctors visits and school and things like that. So I was just living the life of a typical Singaporean parent. Yep. I was already a corporate animal. 赚钱 养家 fitting up the bills, getting the meals and everything. But then there was just one night 5 years ago, I was just looking at myself in the mirror. I was stuck naked, like fully the real naked. I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I was really surprised to see the reflection that I saw. And then when I saw the reflection, I'm like, oh my God, what happened?
What happened?
Yeah, what happened? Like what happened that made me look like that today? I couldn't recognize my body. And the thing is, from my neck up, I'm still very happy with the way my hair is done. I never stopped investing in my hair, my makeup. I bought clothes that hide my body shape. But then when that night I just stood in front of the mirror, I literally couldn't stand the sight of myself. And I think then I decided, like inside of me, right, that this is not how I want to look and how I want to feel.
This is not who you want to be.
This is not who I want to be. And then when I look at the mirror reflection, I just also realized that I've been giving myself all sorts of excuses not to work out. I've been lying to myself. I've been acting and living in misalignment to how I feel. And then I decided that okay, that's it. This is going to be the last night. I'm going to feel sorry for myself. And then that's where I started to pick up the phone and texted my CrossFit instructor and just asked, oh, can I go back to doing CrossFit? And I must be thankful to the way my CrossFit instructor replied me. She's like a 女强人, she opens a gym, she hosted so many of us in the community. We are really tight CrossFit community then. And her reply was just this: just come back lah, you will not die. And that was that message. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for it.
Just take the first step, come back, what's the big deal?
Yeah. And then I went for it. So the next day, I picked myself up. I went to the gym. I went to the CrossFit. I did a CrossFit session. And what was most surprising of me is that I didn't die. Right. And I could finish the entire kind of high-intensity CrossFit class.
But I'm curious at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not unusual, right? The story of parents, having kids, having a job, multiple responsibilities, come back at the end of the day, you're tired, don't feel like doing anything. I mean, this is probably like the story of thousands, if not like tens of thousands of Singaporeans, right? Like, those who have family and kids, nothing unusual. But what was so different about yours that made you feel like, hey, I really want to do something different?
I think when I go back to the CrossFit gym 2 times a week, 3 times a week, every visit and every accomplishment of that 40-minute class made me reclaim a piece of me. Yeah, it made me like,
I like that.
I still have what it takes. Oh, this is how I feel. Oh, I feel good. Like I've forgotten what feeling good feels like. I've forgotten that, wow, I literally feel like a champion each time we finish the sweaty, very, very, very exhausting class. It's like you're like literally 在喘气. But in my mind, I feel like, yes, I got it. I'm a winner.
I love it.
It is as simple as this, but every completed class, I felt like a champion. And I walk out feeling on top of the world.
I love it. And I love the 3 words you use. You're claiming, well, 4 words. You're claiming back a piece of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, or 5 words. I think that is so powerful, being able to do something to claim back a piece of you, to again own back who you are.
I think in the 5 years of being a mother and a parent, I have all the a lot of old thought patterns that I thought I was just giving and giving. I was just giving from an empty cup. Give until 已经没有剩了，还在 give, 一直 give.
Yes.
That's why I started to then have that mirror reflection night. And then when I went back to the gym, doing something that I enjoy, it was very hard. By the way, that it's not like 轻轻松松, but it was very hard. But then, because I did it, so then I think every trip to the gym, every workout, every injury, even every pain that I got out of the CrossFit session just made me started to fill my cup back.
Yes.
That was what happened.
And you knew that worked for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I didn't stop. And literally, with the exception of one Australia holiday that we were in some Ulu Pandan place for 10 days, I've never stopped exercising regularly because I needed that to fuel and feed my cup.
And you knew that that was a sustainable way of kind of making you reclaim who you are as a person.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So now I'm looking at you, right? This version of Jeremy, and today I learned so much. This interpretation in the church, like, what are you? 我要跟你学华文了. So, what do you think people are interested to find out about you? What are the things that you're doing now that you're offering? Because you have so much that you're offering. Like, in case you don't know, you can check out his IG, Jam Cocktails. I hope I got it right.
Yes. One word, Jam Cocktails.
Jam Cocktails, yes. So, what about you that people are interested to find out about?
Quite a few things actually, and I think this is how I've always wanted to live my life, right? And I think like what I said, a lot of the magic happened after 30. So people know me as quite a few personalities. Like they know me as the guy who does cocktails. So you mentioned Jam Cocktails, and that was a COVID baby. So different people did different things, right? To get through COVID. Some did gardening, some did cooking, and cocktails was my thing, right? I learned to make cocktails. In fact, I started like the first day of Circuit Breaker. I think everybody remember, right?
CB 你们记得吗？
First day of CB, like everybody was trying to frantically get into your work from home mode, set up, frantically your work from home station, and you know what to do, right? Trying to get your whole routine back in place. So I started the first Facebook live stream on the first night of Circuit Breaker. And I still remember I made a whiskey sour. I made a whiskey sour. I was looking at my my collection of alcohol, which was not a lot at the time, and I said, okay, what can I do? Okay, make a simple whiskey sour. And interestingly, people kind of liked it, right? And my friend said, hey, I really like the your content. You want to do more? Yeah, sure, let's do that. So I started during the first night, obviously. That one night turned into 5 nights. That 5 nights turned into 10 nights. That 10 nights turned into 100 nights. Wow. So I did, not consecutively, but enough. I took a few breaks in between. But I did 100 episodes of Facebook Live, of cocktail making. So every single night I will make a different cocktail. Of course, in a day, I'll research a little bit about what a cocktail means, what's the history of the cocktail, what ingredients you need. Obviously, try and test the cocktail before the actual show, and then I'll do it at night. And I realized it was also like a meeting point because you couldn't go out, right? The only time you could go out was to buy groceries. You couldn't go out, and hang out with your friends.
Or go to the park.
Or go to the park, right? Secretly and meet friends. But yeah, so it became like the online or virtual coffee shop that people came together. And I think that kind of just launched, that part of my life, the cocktails part. So right now what I do is I sell bottled cocktails. I teach beginners, like somebody who wants to learn to make simple cocktails at home. They don't know how to do it. What ingredients do they need to have? What tools they need to have? Simple recipes. So I do that.
So what is it, that one thing that people want to find out about this?
Yeah. Where do you find the energy to do all this? Because I got my job, I've got my cocktails, I've got my work in diversity and inclusion, so I'm leading the team in my workplace. So I have multiple hats, right?
So this question that Jeremy just said, that where do you get the energy to do so many things, is also the answer that I have for the same question.
Yes.
And then let us continue, right? So how do you then find the energy to do so many things? Cocktail, working, and then meeting your customers, doing your diversity and inclusion, doing this podcast with me on a Sunday, walking your dog. So how do you find this energy?
It's really interesting to ask that question because energy doesn't equals time. What I'm saying is your level of energy doesn't follow that amount of time that you spend. It's two different things.
Because we all have the same amount of time.
Exactly.
24 hours, no more, no less.
Exactly. And I'll give you a very simple example. I can spend 5 minutes with somebody who is absolutely energy draining. Right? I mean, we know these people. We've met some of these people, right?
The energy of you.
Exactly. You can meet the same person for 5 minutes, and after the interaction, you go, oh my God, my energy is just drained from this person, right? But the same 5 minutes I can spend with my dog, and just 5 minutes patting my dog, talking to my dog, my energy level just restored to full tank after 5 minutes. So know that there are things that restore your energy battery and there are things that don't. So what do? Then you learn to balance that, right? I mean, you only have that many hours in a week. And actually it's also related to a quote, which I'll share at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
And it's related to this episode. But there is something about being able to reclaim or restore recharge your energy depending on what you do. And I feel that it's very, very important when I look at my entire week. Are there things in my life right now, apart from work, for example, that is recharging my social battery? Whether it's social battery, whether it's personal battery, I need to devote into things that I enjoy doing. And for example, cocktails restores my energy, right? It's a hobby that I really enjoy. Diversity and inclusion work, deeply meaningful, deeply purposeful. And when I spend time on it, people think that, oh my God, you have so much time, why are you doing this? Taking additional time away from you. What they don't realize whenever I do that is because it's so deeply meaningful, I restore my energy from it. And that's why I'm able to do all this in a week. And it's not because of too much time or more time than anybody, but because all these additional activities give me energy and restore my battery.
I think 3 words came up for me that was repeated over, I think, the last 30 minutes is reclaim, restore, and recharge.
Wow.
These were the 3 words that we used just now.
Good summary. By the way, I've been following your stories. I think there's one most common question that came up for you, isn't it? Like, how do you manage to squeeze everything in? Like, where do you find energy to do everything in your day, right?
Yeah. So for me right now, the new version of me. So passion for me is a new thing. I think. Yeah. Other than working out, training, lifting weights in the gym, which is what I do on a day-to-day basis, regular basis. I also just graduated from being a life coach.
Wow! Congratulations.
Yes. So I graduated from Super Coach Academy, and then I have just been I'm a life coach now, and right now I'm also taking a course on nutrition coaching. So it is in my higher vision to really want to help people who have troubles with eating, body image, fitness, mental wellness. So I'm kind of still figuring my offer out, but it's something that I'm really hungry to learn about. And then at the same time at work, I am a new people leader. So I'm learning to manage people, learning to manage myself as well. And also at the side at work, I'm also part of a very fun small team that organizes team bonding activities and fun things for our colleagues.
Yes.
And it's really coming out of a space for joy.
Yes.
Basically, we're just putting fun things together.
Yes.
So to the question of how, so
basically summary, you also Jingbo-eng. we both Jingbo-eng, and yet we both want to do a podcast on top of that.
And I have 2 children. Okay, I make
That's
meals. I make meals almost every day. This food and nutrition is something that is a non-negotiable for me. So I do put aside time for food and things. And I think what I want to talk about is, other than knowing what brings you joy, I'm also very aware of what brings me what's the opposite of joy? Something that makes me very sian, including things like getting annoyed. I'm aware, I have become aware and conscious when the feeling of irritation and annoyance comes in me. And that can be as simple as, like say for example, asking my children to change into their, change out of their pajamas. Like, you can, children being children, right? They are a test of us.
Of your patience and your limits.
Of our patience. So children really made me who I am today. I must give them a lot of credit. Like simple things like
parenting is a big teachable moment for you.
Simple things like nagging them for 5 times, and then before I even nag the 6th time, I'll be aware like, okay, I don't like the way this version of me. I don't like me nagging, and then I'll just simply drop. I'll just drop the annoyance. I'll just drop the nagging and tell myself that. So what if they still in their pajamas? So what if they don't eat their breakfast?
Right.
They wouldn't die. They are happy, doing this noir thing for whatever. And then why am I choosing to be the one suffering and asking them to do things that obviously they don't want? And then I'll just drop lor. Then I'll just do something more joyful, like drinking my cup of coffee, looking at the in the cloud. So for me, it has become so choiceful that I will even let go of things that I used to hold on to.
So, but interesting in the example of what you just mentioned, and this is me learning from you as well, right? So that means you're just kind of choosing to
where I put my mental energy.
Where you put your energy, even if the end result is not what you expected.
Yes. Let go.
And you will let go of the end result or the outcome.
I'll let
so
go.
They don't wear pajamas, 算了, just don't wear.
算了.
Okay.
So like last time, right, I have this thing because I prepare meals. Okay, I'm quite like, I'm not like a super good cook lah, but I'll try to like cook like nutritious food. So I have in the past, in the older version of me, I have this thing about food must be eaten hot.
Right.
Like 我已经煮了一个热腾腾的午餐了，为什么我一直叫你吃？ Then you're just dilly-dally, watch TV. Then I get very upset. It's like I have attached the quality of the meal to that hot meal to my sense of self.
Right.
And then in the end, like this nagging, asking them to eat, it's like I'm just holding on to this sense of self that is just my own belief. And over time in this, turning 40 and self-development, and that's for another episode perhaps, I've learned to realize that, 他们不吃这个热腾腾的午餐，不代表他们不爱我，或者是不代表我不爱他们。It's done. I've done my meal for them.
Yep.
They can enjoy it at any time they like. But why am I was literally choosing to suffer because they're not eating the hot meal. So it is this awareness of holding on to annoyance that allowed me to then make a conscious decision to let go of such things so that I can really invest my energy in what brings me joy.
And that's a very mindful moment. That's a very mindful moment because you are realizing you're internalizing and you're observing yourself in the moment, what's really happening. And then therefore you're able to let go of the annoyance. Because if not, the end result could be like you screaming at the kids, obviously. Yeah. Everyone gets upset.
Yes.
The mood changes for the rest of the day and that's it, like your day is gone.
I think I was just becoming more aware of what I feel in my body. Like I didn't like this is how to say, this very 纠结 the feeling in the chest, this nagginess. Then I suddenly become this version of me that I don't like. Then I question myself, let go lah. 在那边 hold on 什么? So I think that was what I really learned in this 1 year that also made me a different parent and different person from who I am 1-2 years ago.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, okay. So parenting is a big moment for you.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's move on to...
I want to say this. I want to ask this question.
Please go ahead.
So we were brainstorming, like we really want to bring across a meaningful message to us and also adding value to our listeners out there, right? And I think this is a common question and I think we liked this question and we want to answer this.
Yes.
So Jeremy, what will you say to your younger self?
Yeah, this is a big question, right? What would you say to your younger self? What would I say to my younger self? I think I would say you're going to be fine.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think you may think that it's going to be it's something very, very simple, but I think when I was growing up and we were growing up, whether it's struggling with my sexual identity, whether it's struggling with relationship with parents, your relationship with partners, all of that. A lot of times you're always in self-doubt, right? Like, should I do this? Should I not? What am I doing in my life? And I feel like I kind of have that moment every few years. I have those moments that what the hell am I doing in my life? Am I making something meaningful in my life? Is my life a waste? You know, I regularly have these moments, emo episodes, right? Of
I think these emo episodes happens to every one of us.
I think so. I think so. I think
Every other day,
right?
every other month.
Yeah. Why am I doing my life? Then we look at somebody like, oh yeah, this person's so successful. This person's figured it out, right? And I think this is one of the reasons why we started the
Podcast.
The podcast.
Yes,
The Imperfect
exactly.
Rainbow.
That's the whole thing. That's the reason why we're doing this.
Yeah, because we are also imperfect, but yet we can make something very beautiful out of it. So I think my message to my younger self is, it's okay, you know. Be brave, do what you want to do, follow your heart. Be brave, follow your heart, and do what you want to do, right? And don't worry so much about what people are saying. Don't compare yourself to others, because you are here for a reason, and you are here for, for a purpose. So figure out that purpose, figure out living, your reason for living, and you'll be fine, and you will get there.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine, and you will get there, right? So don't be in a hurry, and don't be so frustrated to find out the answer at this moment. Sometimes we just don't have all the answers at any point of our lives, right? Do I have all the answers at the age of 43? Hell no.
We don't know what we are doing also.
I know.
We don't even know when we will launch this.
I know. We're still figuring out a lot of things. So I want to say, you know, everybody, especially if you're younger and just figuring things out, it's okay. Just continue doing what you're doing. Believe in yourself, and you'll be fine.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and obviously the same question back to you, right? What would you do or say to a younger version of yourself?
Okay, so I've journaled this answer this morning,
Oh, I love it. Journal.
my answer is, there's only one thing that I want to really say to my younger self, is that know that you only need to seek permission from yourself to love and to be.
That's deep. That's deep. Can I just do it one more time? Repeat one more time for us. I love it.
Know that you only need to seek permission from yourself to love and to be.
Tell us more.
I think it's really from my dating times, my dating years of like seeking that love, that words of affirmation, that bit of, love language coming in all sorts of ways from external parties, boyfriends, friends, the community. And I really didn't know how to love myself from within. And that's the reason why I was spending so much time, so many tears, so much heartache, so many wrong decisions, wrong words, wrong action to really find that love that is, I thought, only contains outside of me.
You were seeking external validation.
I was completely seeking external validation, but that version of me also then made me realize that love can only come from within. And so that's the reason why that message is really, just know that only you can give yourself the permission. You don't need to seek permission from anybody else.
So
not even your
powerful.
parent. Don't even allow your parent to be in this picture. I mean, they can be really good lighthouses.
That's right.
But they can also be really poor ones, unfortunately. Not all parents are great parents. I mean,
Of course.
we don't even know how to be good people all the time.
Of course.
So we just have to, I think, tune into the inner compass that we have, use that inner wisdom, and then just find answers from within.
That's so powerful, because then you take back the right to be happy back in your own hands, and you're not giving anybody else in the world for your right to be happy.
That's right.
Because sometimes we are so willing to relinquish that right, right?
Yeah.
And we see the external validation, and because we don't get that, therefore we're not happy.
Yeah.
But actually, at the end of the day, you got to kind of reclaim that.
We have all the decision-making power.
You
It's
have all
only
the
within us.
decision-making. Exactly. That's very powerful.
So today we end.
Oh my God, we didn't expect me here.
That's pretty much a good moment to end.
I love it.
And then how
It
do we
is.
end it? Okay, so we have this...
We have our quotes, right?
Yes, we have a quote. So Jeremy will do his favorite quote of the day.
Yes, I will.
And then I will do my passage. So you go ahead with
I
your
go
quote.
ahead. Okay. So the quote of the day for me is, you can have it all, just not all at the same time. So I'll say that again. You can have it all, just not all at the same time. So I Googled a little bit. Actually,
Yeah,
I
tell
heard
us
it-
why. Tell us why you chose this.
Yeah, and first heard it from Mel Robbins. I think one of her stories. And she's a coach. She's a coach, online coach. We know that. But it's actually written by Betty Friedan. I googled, and she was a feminist, American feminist, and all that. So you can have it all, just not all at the same time. And I think this quote had a very deep meaning for me, because when I first heard it, I'm like, you're right. I can have it all, but it's not possible to you to focus on everything. So that impact was then for me to then look at my life in seasons. So for example, I'll give you a really good example. So right now, I was doing an online diversity and inclusion course. So it means coursework. I've got 6 modules. Every module is 2 weeks. Lots of videos to watch. Lots of literature to read. Lots of coursework to do. And obviously, in these 6 weeks, I cannot be focused on everything else, right? But then again, if I'm choiceful, I know that I need to kind of block off these 6 weeks for reading and studying. Certain things have to go. So therefore, this season of my life is a season that I have to be studying, right? Or let's say, for example, when I was first launching my IG, my jam cocktails, right? And I know that season I needed to kind of block it off and kind of do things to start the business running, to ramp up the efforts and all that. I obviously block time for that. So I realized that hey, you can have it all. Like I have my jam cocktails right now. I have my dog. I have my DI. I have my corporate work. But I also realized that there are seasons for it, and there are times to focus on different things. So do I have it all? Yes, I have it all, and they're all something that I kind of put in. I have in my life right now, but I also know that I have to focus on certain things and be choiceful about what I focus on, and not be frustrated that hey, if I'm doing this but something else is dropping, then why am I so worried and frustrated that it's dropping? But if I'm purposefully and intentionally knowing that I'm focusing my time on this instead of that for this season for a period of time, then I think I'm fine.
Because there could be another season to focus on the other thing.
Exactly.
It's not that you have dropped it off, you just parked it aside.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So I think it's very, very important for us to kind of feel that, because all of us are juggling. Yeah, I think every Singaporean out there, that you're juggling. You have family, you have kids, you have hobbies, you have animals, you have your in-laws. You're always juggling. So many things that we have. But I think the key thing is to know when to do what, and to recognize that there are seasons in your life. Yeah.
And also focus on things that bring you joy
and energy,
and let go of the things that doesn't serve you.
Yes.
Like the nagging. Like nagging can be a big topic, but let go of the nagging.
Let go of the nagging.
One advice,
yeah. Okay, what's your quote of the day?
So I chose a passage from this book that I really like. The title of this book is called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying.
Ooh.
This book is by Bronnie Ware. She's a nurse, and there's really this top 5 regrets, but I'll talk about the regrets on another day. The passage that I've chose to share is, when you are doing work you love, it doesn't feel like work. It is just a natural extension of who we are. And I think we are not just only focusing on the things that we love, because we talked about just now that there are certain things that we just don't like to do, but they are high priority and we still need to do it. And this calls for another passage, another statement that I want to talk about from the same book is, always check back our deeper self on relationship and honesty. Have we been honest? That's it. Have we been honest? If doing this is something that we really, or rather if saying this is something that we don't want to say, then why do we say it? If somebody makes a comment and we feel weird, but why do we reply in such a way that it's something that he or she wants to hear? So that's not being honest.
That's not being authentic.
That's not being authentic. And there's always a way to reply in such a way that we are still empathetic, but at least aligned to our honesty. And
that takes a lot of courage, though, to be able to do that. It takes a lot of courage, takes honesty, reflection to be able to do that.
And that's why we started, because at age 30 plus, we started to be honest with ourselves, and that's why we pivoted into the things that we're doing and feeling so joyful and still using the same 24 hours that every one of us have.
Exactly.
Same amount of time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
thanks for
that's it.
sharing all of that you shared today. And Maddy, I personally am inspired by what you shared today.
Wow, thank you.
Even I thought I know a lot about you, but yeah, today I think I know a little bit more.
I know more about you today for sure.
Fantastic.
And we hope that this gives our listeners a good lens into who we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
And who are we? Need to emphasize again, what's the name of our podcast? I think we have not said it enough.
Oh really? Oh yes, of course.
What is the name of our podcast, Jeremy?
We are called The Imperfect Rainbow.
And I think this is what we want you to bring back, that it's okay to be imperfect, and being imperfect is beautiful, like the rainbow, and you are still able to bring a smile to the faces of others.
Exactly. And I think at some point we're going to have one episode about imperfections.
I love
This is a bit of a teaser.
Okay.
Okay, so till the next time.
Yes.
This is Jam.
This is Madeline.
Okay.
And take care.
Take care. See you. Bye.